Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day has been great. Mine's been awesome, and we have some juicy things to talk about today. It's definitely been an eventful day, guys. So first in this video, we're covering the LA Gladiators, guys. Guess what? They leaked their tryout scrims for Overwatch League and Overwatch Academy teams. I have a screenshot covering 12 of the players involved in these tryouts. We're going to cover who they are, who they played for, and if LA Gladiators might be picking them up. And then after that, guys, we're moving on to XQC. He talked about a lot of different things on his stream yesterday. First, Kephri about him joining the Overwatch League. He seems to really have a strong opinion about Kephri's post. He definitely gave his thoughts real thoroughly. We're going to take a look at everything he said, and I'll break it down. And then lastly in this video, guys, we are going to be covering two leaks that I'm dropping. Gator, formerly of GOAT, is joining the Overwatch League for Team Atlanta. That is huge. And then iDK, formerly a support for Lucky Future Zenith, is joining the Hangzhou team. Probably butchered it, but we're going to cover all of these guys. If you guys are excited for all this juice, be sure to smash that like button. Let's try to get to 2,000. We're going to try not to ramble in this video, guys, and there won't be too many ads, so drop a like for that. And if you're new around here and you enjoy daily Overwatch League content, subscribe to my channel to stay updated. And now without further ado, let's hop into it. So jumping right into the LA Gladiators scrim tryout leaks. So obviously they were hosting trials and they had their players record their VODs. Well, one of the players accidentally leaked it, and that is Sit, formerly of Last Night's Leftovers in Season 2 Contenders North America. So he was recording his own POV, and I guess he sent it to the LA Gladiators and maybe put it on public or sent it to a friend and he leaked it. Not too sure how it got around, but here's a screenshot of it. Now, the thing about the LA Gladiators is that they host tryouts and they mix Overwatch League trials and Overwatch Academy trials. They pretty much just throw a bunch of players together that they think are good. And then from the initial tryout, they kind of judge how good they are, whether or not they want to keep trialing them either for the Academy or even potentially the Overwatch League team. And then as you move through the trials, it gets more advanced and you probably play with more and more players who are actually in the Overwatch League or being considered for the Overwatch League team. I can confirm though, mostly in this VOD, it is a lot of Academy players, but some of these players are being considered for their Overwatch League team. So now that you guys can see the screenshot, let's go ahead and go over most of the players here. First, we have Sit, which again is from Last Night's Leftovers. He's a DPS player. He also played with GOATs. Then moving on to Gray. Gray is a support player. He is from Europe. He's been around the European scene for a while. He first played with Laser Kittens, then he moved on to GGEA/Optic Academy. These first two players, Sit and Gray, are being considered for the Academy team. I can confirm that. Also for Sit, the guy's under 18. He's like 16 years old, so he can't even play in the league yet. So definitely being considered for Academy. But this next player isn't. And that player is Changsik, who played for Kongdu Panthera/Kongdu Uncia in Contenders Season 2. He is very experienced. He played in Overwatch Contenders Season 2 Korea. He got second place against Runaway. He also competed in Contenders Season 1, lost to Runaway as well, getting knocked out in the quarterfinals. Now, it is good to note that he was a sub for most of these two seasons, but when he did play, he did really well. Then he also competed in Overwatch Apex Season 4 and Overwatch Apex Season 3 and Season 2 with Meta Athena, where he got 4th in Overwatch Apex Season 2, where Meta Athena barely lost to Lunatic High in a 5-game series. So the experience that Changsik has is pretty damn good, and he is definitely being considered for both the Academy and Overwatch League team, because we all do know LA Gladiators is looking for a main tank, and if he does pop off in these trials, there's no reason they wouldn't want to pursue him. And now moving on to the next players, we have Avast, who is formerly of the Boston Uprising, a support player. He's being considered for Academy. It is also good to note that if any of these players do absolutely pop off in the Academy trials, they could be considered for Overwatch League. Like if Avast is just doing absolutely amazing, then he could be joining the Overwatch League team, because it's always good to have substitutes. Then moving on to the next player, we have Addo, which we all know who he is. He's from Shanghai Dragons, was pretty much the only player on that team that looked competent at most times besides maybe Gator and Dia. And his Tracer and Genji looked pretty good as well, so no doubt in my mind if he pops off here, he is definitely being considered for the Overwatch League team as well. And then lastly, we have Hoon. Now, just like Changsik, Hoon is very experienced as well. Unfortunately though, he is trialing for the Academy team because LA Gladiators already have 2 off tanks, and Hoon is just so experienced on that off tank role. He's competed in Overwatch Contenders Season 2 Korea, Season 1 Korea, Apex Season 4, 4, Apex Season 3, Apex Season 2, and this entire time he played for the meta teams. The reason he didn't make it in the first season of Overwatch League is because he wasn't of age, but now he is of age and potentially could be making the Overwatch League. So that's going to be the first 6 players. And now moving on to the top 6 players. First, we have Goliath, who played with XL2 Academy in the past 2 North American Contender seasons. Really good, known for his Zenyatta and his Ana. Probably being considered for the Academy team, but I could see him popping off and potentially making it as a sub onto their roster. Moving on to the next player, we have Boostio, formerly of Goats and Second Wind. Yeah, he's got an interesting reputation talking trash to a lot of Overwatch League players. He's got to prove himself and at least make it to an academy team. We'll see if he does. Good luck to him. Moving on to the next player, we have Modern. And Modern is another experienced main tank from Korea. He competed in multiple seasons of Overwatch Apex and Overwatch Contenders Korea. So in Overwatch Apex Season 2 and Season 3, he played with the dreadful Flash Lux, where Fleta comes from. Then after that, he moved on over to the Pacific Division, and he played in Overwatch Contenders Season 1 Pacific Division, and he got first place with Detonator Korea against Blink eSports. Then he moved on and he played with Meta Athena in Overwatch Contenders Korea. So he's in a similar situation with Changsik. If he pops off really hard, he could be considered with the Overwatch League team. If not, he'll probably be considered for the Academy team. And then moving on to the second last player, we have Bianca from MVP Space and Korea Contenders as well. He is an off-tank player. He's 16 years old, so he's definitely being considered for the Academy team. He played 2 seasons of Contenders Korea, and then he also played in an Apex season with MVP Space, so definitely experienced, and we could definitely see him joining the Academy team. And then moving on to the last guy, we have Jur, who is a main support player from North America. He used to compete for Renegades, and he's just been bouncing around Contenders Trials teams the last 2 seasons, so he's probably being considered for the Academy team. Good luck to him. And that's going to be all the players, guys. Let me know down below what you think about them, if any of them will make the roster. Be sure, leave a comment, and let's go to move on now and talk about XQC. So of course, this Caffrey thing has been a pretty big deal, him asking for a trial with DC. It ended up being on XQC's stream, of course, and here was XQC's initial response to getting asked about it.
Hey XQC, do you think Kephri is going to get the Atlanta tryout and join OWL?
No, he won't. He will not get a tryout or picked up, and then neither of those things will happen.
Maybe I should drop Genji.
No Mega Ultra. What he wrote on Twitter is the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard in my life.
We got M7.
Kephri is so far gone that he's so out of touch that it is literally.
You should try roguelike or randomized.
It is inconceivable that he would write that on Twitter.
Okay, so at first glance, XQC seems to have a really strong opinion about this and thinks that Kephri's absolutely delusional. But after this game, he does take a break and he looks on Twitter, he rereads the post, and he gives his thoughts more thoroughly. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
I don't want to give it too much attention, but you know what, dude? TM's the Overwatch. I'll visit score, give me a second. I get it, it's a meme, dude, it's funny. I think this is fucking this is really funny. I think it's funny, right? And people seem to back him up a lot, right? I think, personally, it's kind of insulting a little bit. And I'll tell you why. I think it's pretty simple. I think it's reasonable also, because I thought about it. Right? Here he says, this says, go to Contenders if you want to go to Overwatch League, and he says, Contenders will be a huge financial step back for my successful streaming career. I have a wife at home, bills to pay. I guess I go back in time and join. I play with old gladly prove myself in a tryout. The thing is, right now nobody's in tryouts. It's very hard to get tryouts, right? And he says, it's a step back for my successful streaming career. Yeah. Life is about trade-offs and sacrifices. Life is about taking some time off of something that you enjoy or whatever, for something bigger, to reach bigger goals or whatever. Do you think people in Contenders have a plan B? They don't even have a plan A, dude. They have nothing, and they're still dedicated their entire life to this Contender shit. And this guy comes out of nowhere with financial stability, with a stream, with a big structure behind it, everything perfect, and he asks for, he's asking for a fucking shortcut. That's fucking insulting to everyone that's fucking grinding their fucking asses off. Nobody has a plan A, plan B. This guy has a plan A and a plan B, and he wants to go past them. That's fucked up, dude. That's so fucked. I don't want people to back up that shit. That's just retarded.
Let's go.
It's so disconnected to say shit like that. Even though it might seem sort of meaningless or whatever to other people that are grinding, that are reading this, I could see why they could be really fucking upset at that garbage. If he was to get a tryout anyway.
Okay, so I don't agree with everything XQC said here, but I do understand what he means, and he broke it down really well, saying from the perspective of an actual contenders player that has been grinding their ass off, of course they're going to look at this post and they're going to think, wow, like, who does this guy think he is? I've been working very hard. He needs to respect that. That makes total sense, and if I was in that position, I would definitely think like that as well. But I'm not. I'm in an outside perspective, so I'm going to look at all angles, and I'm going to try to give my best unbiased opinion on this. So again, as I said, I agree with what XQC said. As a contenders player, it makes sense to be a little insulted by this. But if you look at it from another perspective, it also makes a little sense. So let's talk a little bit about some Overwatch streamers. Specifically, let's bring up Calvin first. Calvin said on a stream the other day that he got invited to play in the Overwatch League for 150k. Now, I understand, yes, Calvin is pretty good, but he is unproven as a pro, just like Kephri. I get it, Calvin probably is considered way better than Kephri by a lot of people, and I agree. I think Calvin has better aim, and I also think that he is way more flexible. But they both do have insane aim. That's one thing we can't agree on. So I think it is unfair in this circumstance to blame Kephri for wanting to get straight up a trial instead of having to go through contenders and grind his way up, because other streamers like Calvin have been invited to join the Overwatch League without going through any trial process, without having to grind his way up through contenders. And that's just one example. Let's look at Defran now, who is joining Atlanta. Defran also didn't have to compete in any trials, and he hasn't proven himself as a pro in over a year and a half. Again, I know Defran is way better than Kephri, 10, 13,000 million times better than Kephri. But the analogy still stands that the fact is Defran didn't have to try out, he didn't have to go through the grind, he's a big streamer, and he got offered to play in the Overwatch League. Now, maybe that isn't the best example, but my big point here is that you don't need to go through this big grind, play through contenders, prove yourself there before you get an Overwatch League trial or offer. It really depends on who you are. So let's go ahead and look at another example. Some people have been saying, all right, you have to go through contenders, you have to grind your way up, it has to be like this big sweat, you know, you have to work your ass off. Well, you don't. All it takes is one tournament to pop off. Let's look at EQO, for instance. EQO was literally one of the most unknown players ever. He played in a World Cup for Team Israel. He never played in contenders. He never played in any big tournaments. But yet he still got a tryout for Philadelphia Fusion. And look at him now. He was one of the best players in Season 1. So what my big point is that you don't need to go through this huge grind through contenders to prove yourself. If you end up getting a trial and you prove yourself that way, then so be it. If you end up getting accepted to an Overwatch League team without trialing, then so be it. And I think the fact that Kephri asked for a tryout, so what? He asked for a tryout. Who cares? Let him ask for a tryout. If he gets it, he gets it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. And if he proves himself, he proves himself. And if he doesn't prove himself, he doesn't. So that's pretty much it. I don't think I need to go on anymore. I know some of the analogies weren't that great, so I tried to come up with multiple ones to try to make my point across. But that's pretty much why I kind of disagree with XQC and think he is wrong about some aspects here. But I do like how he did thoroughly give his thoughts on this. And he kind of was looking at it from different perspectives like me. I guess we just have different opinions here. Let me know your guys' opinion by leaving a comment down below. And now let's move on to the juicy leaks. So starting off with the first player, we have Gator, formerly of GOAT, joining Atlanta. He's a main tank player, and I know this might be a big surprise to some of you guys, and it sort of is a surprise to me. I've known for a while that Gator is a really good player, mechanically and communication-wise and teamwork-wise. He's very well-rounded, and he's good at doing his job. The problem for Gator was that he was surrounded by a decent amount of toxic people. One being Scott, his own brother, which no longer plays the game competitively, at least with GOATs. Because, I mean, he got banned for being so toxic and just wasn't a good influence on Gator. As well as that, he has Kaluj on his team, who is known for getting banned, boosting, doing a lot of bad things. So, again, just surrounded by toxic players. So he had a pretty bad reputation. Still, despite that, though, the high-level community still considered him a really good player, and because of this, he landed a decent amount of trials, and he proved himself to Atlanta. So he's going to be one of their main tank players alongside Pokpo. Definitely a surprising pickup to a lot of people, and I know you guys are going to react to that pretty wildly, so let me know down in the comments how you feel about it, and let's move on to the last leak. And it's going to be iDK, or I don't know, from Lucky Future Zenith, a main support player. He is going to be joining the Hangzhou team. He's a very solid main support, and he's a great duo with Lucid. I hope they stay together, but I'm not too sure what Lucid is doing. I'm going to have to look into that. But as I said, he competed with Lucky Future Zenith in the Chinese scene. He is Korean. He played for an all-Korean team in the Chinese contender scene. They took first place 2 seasons in a row. completely dominated everybody, and a lot of their players have been really hot on the market, and that will round the Hangzhou roster up to 9 players. We've covered them in other videos. It's going to be half split of X6 Gaming and half split of 7, and now they brought on their main support. But those are the leaks, guys. Thank you for watching the video. If you did enjoy it, again, drop a like down below, smash it, get me to 2,000. I would really appreciate that. And lastly, I want to say thank you for everybody watching my channel. I really appreciate you guys coming here every single day, watching the ads, watching the full videos. You guys are the absolute best. If you made it this far, comment down below, we got the juice. Everybody that comments down below saying we got the juice, I'll drop you a heart. Thank you so much. I'm out of here, guys. Oh, by the way, subscribe if you're new around here. Daily uploads on my channel. And that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. Peace.